Yeah, I've got a lot of concerns about ayahuasca. When I interviewed Stephen Bayer, who wrote Talking to the Plants, ethnobotanist, and I asked him directly, I said, is ayahuasca basically an emetic? And he said yes. He said that it was discovered by natives who needed something to make them regurgitate because they didn't have refrigeration. Their food was bad and they were getting sick. When they got sick, they needed to puke fast. And so that was part of how ayahuasca was developed. Many people regurgitate for short periods. Some I've known cases where they regurgitate for 5 hours nonstop. And to me, that's the body's way of saying we don't want this stuff inside. So how interested am I going to be as a man of science in something that my body is saying I don't want it inside? It brings interesting information. There's no question about it. I have question about, again, bringing back how much of the information on an ayahuasca trip can you bring back and use in daily life. That's very important. I'm uncertain about that. But it's mostly the emetic quality of it that is a turnoff. That's similar to what I said about psilocybin. The psilocybin doesn't result when people have unwanted complications in such powerful regurgitation as ayahuasca, but ayahuasca is the king of regurgitation. And my concern there also is a lot of psychological mumbo jumbo has been made up around the regurgitation. You're purging, you're really getting rid of some bad old stuff. No, you're not getting necessarily rid of some bad old stuff. You're getting rid of toxic stuff that's in your system that your system wants to puke out. And I think that's what it's about. And this ayahuasca tourism is a big turnoff. I think that the people down there are understandably trying to make a buck, and that's part of how it got popular. And also, it's easier to get a hold of than LSD, and that's always a variable. What can you get a hold of? That's part of why alcohol is still the number one mind-altering substance on the. Well, it's not the number one on the planet. I think either chocolate or nicotine might be number one and two, but alcohol is way up there. And why? Because it's legal and it's historical and it's embedded in the consciousness. But I sure don't think much of it in terms of its healing qualities other than for pain. If you're really in pain and you have nothing but alcohol, yeah, you drink it. It'll make you numb. Numb isn't my trip. I'm trying to get awake. Anytime I have an option to recommend somebody who's looking for a psychedelic experience, if they're looking for creativity, if they're looking for introspection, if they're looking for other paradigms of life, I recommend LSD. If they're looking for couples work, if they're looking for more personal work having to do with their emotions and getting more in touch with their emotions and their feelings, then I recommend MDMA.